delighted to say now that Lee Anderson joins me now. Lee, so this report has found that really there's been no need for us to offer asylum to anyone from Albania, pretty much, for the last couple of years, and yet we've been doing it, but hopefully now it stops. Is that right?
Well, look, I mean, isn't it a shame and a pity and a waste of taxpayers' money and parliamentary time that we've had to go through this investigation and this report to tell us all what we already know? Anybody, Patrick, with an ounce of common sense knows that Albania is a safe country. They're economic migrants coming over, and the reason they're coming over on a boat is because it's quicker and cheaper than coming by the correct means. And once they get here, they can abuse the asylum system, and many of them can just disappear into the black economy for a life of crime and criminality, and once again take advantage of this great country of ours. It really winds me up, it sticks in my throat that we've had to go through this on the Home Affairs Select Committee. Like I say, anybody with any common sense knows that they are economic migrants abusing our system.
Yeah, indeed. But now we're seeing a shift from Albania to India. So the same thing is going to happen here, isn't it? You know, in another couple of years' time, you and I are going to be sitting here having this conversation where you've had to write a report about the fact that the vast majority of people in India do not need asylum, and it is just men coming over looking for jobs who didn't meet the economic threshold of our legal migration system.
Yeah, this is not the points immigration based system that we've introduced. This is now the people smugglers. They're not bothered where the people come from anywhere on this planet. As long as they get their £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 per person for putting them on a boat, it doesn't matter whether they come from Eritrea, Sudan, from Albania, from Timbuktu. They will take the money and do their best to get them in this country as part of this trade. Look, we've got, you know my views on this, Patrick. I've been coming on this show now for nigh on 3 years. You know, till I'm blue in the face. And these scenes you've just shown again with predominantly men coming over, and I've said it before, if they're coming from war-torn countries, what sort of men leave women and children behind and their families in a war-torn country? Not the type of men I want to be seeing coming to my country.
Well, no, absolutely not. Now, when it comes to the committee that's put this report together, this is a cross-party committee, Lee, isn't it? This is a cross-party committee. So now, whenever anyone in the Labour Party or the Lib Dems or the SNP or whoever stand up and say that, you know, we owe everybody some kind of, you know, huge debt and that we have to welcome everybody, we can point, can we not, to a cross-party committee who have decided 2 years too late that all of those Albanian men that were coming across the channel pretty much were basically on the take.
Yeah, it is a cross-party committee, as you say, Patrick. The chair actually is a Labour MP, Dame Diana Johnson. This is a consensus we've come to. This is after speaking with Albanian members of Parliament, like you just shown before the clip, the Home Affairs Select Committee speaking to the Albanian ambassador. There was a trip to Albania with the Home Affairs Select Committee. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to that one, but, you know, it was a no-brainer. And I suppose some of the opposition MPs on our committee didn't really like what they were saying because it didn't fit their narrative about these young men being victims of all sorts of nasty stuff. Look, we recognise that there are women, there are some women at risk in Albania being trafficked for sex, etc. But the young men you see coming on the boats, they're coming for one reason, and that's for money.
Lee, look, I've got to ask you, I hope you don't mind this, but it's pretty straightforward, really, in relation to the kind of verbal feud that's going on with Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. You're in an interesting position because you're in a red wall seat, OK? In fact, I was there last week, and we had a decent day out. But do you owe Boris Johnson your seat? Where are you in all of this? Where are you in all of this now? Because it does seem like this war of words is hotting up a bit.
Well, look, I don't like to see blue on blue attacks, but what I will say, I think we need to move on as a party because the fear of a Labour government, actually, I mean, the thought of a Labour government terrifies me. But I will say this about Boris. In 2019, there was a particular reason why I won my seat in Ashfield. That was Boris, that was Brexit, and that was a feeling towards Jeremy Corbyn. So, yes, I do owe Boris my seat. But, you know, we've got to move on. We've got to stop falling out and bickering with each other, and hopefully we can unite and put the country first, Patrick.
You don't think Boris should leave the Conservative Party? There's rumours of him setting up with someone like Nigel Farage, for example.
I just think that's people like you, Patrick, in the media. You know, I know you've got a pound to earn. Probably been a little bit mischievous there, young man. But you know, it sells papers, I suppose, and it keeps it at the top of the news agenda. So who knows what's going to happen in the future? But My concerns is, as you know, Ashfield and this great country of ours.
Lee, look, thank you, and you're right. I was pulling your leg a bit there.